Hal, let me ask you. You guys, you're like responsible for multiple gold albums, but
Platinum,
and,
all of them.
but nobody. You look at the back of the album. Your name is not there.
Well, in the beginning, for some reason, they did not use our names. We never got credits. And it was a guy by the name of Bones Howe, great drummer, great engineer, great producer, amazing guy. And he went to the top people at the NARAS Corporation, I guess it is, the National Association of Recording Arts and Sciences, the Grammy people. And he said, it's time that these musicians and these background singers that were singing on all the hits that we were doing, it's time that they got some credits. And that's why in the movie you'll hear people like
Mickey Dolenz?
no, the big disc jockey.
Oh, Dick Clark.
Dick Clark. Dick Clark said he never knew that it was. I know Dick. I did 2 4-hour specials with Dick Clark alone. He just never knew. We never knew that.
Part of the problem was, it would be hard to put their names on if they're doing the Pet Sounds album. At that point, Brian's using these guys strictly for the recording, and the boys are singing in the backgrounds. That could have upset some of the Beach Boy fans, but these guys are also doing albums, let's say, for groups that weren't even real. When I say real, they recorded it like the Marquettes, the Routers, T-Bones, instrumental groups that were basically these guys. They became hits, and then they go cast for groups. So it was easier just to, what? But just to give credit to Janet Dean gave you guys credits. Simon and Garfunkel gave credits. There was a few groups that did give credits. Phil Spector did too, which was, not unusual, but it was, I think that's because he's probably from Phil was a jazz guy. Jazz people kind of, or that era kind of gave credits.
So, how did it stop? How did the era end? I mean, you guys were like at the top of your game.
Electronics. Electronics came in and put a lot of us really out of business because everyone, all the people that I knew, they had their own studios in their garages, in their living rooms. They had, there were things like Pro Tools coming along. You could do a hand clap and build a record of 150 people. You didn't need just the one track, which was where we started out with, single track. And it would do. Then it was 4 tracks, then it was 8. Today it's 2,000 tracks, whatever you want. And they're all in tune, no matter what. I mean, not to get all musically technically, you could be in the wrong key, and it's Pro Tools puts it all together, makes it perfect. That was sort of the beginning of the end. Plus the divorces didn't help either.
Well, what he said is absolutely so true. But it also was, there's younger people now that are very competent, and they can do it. Unfortunately, they'll never get a chance to do it the way we did it unless they come back to recording the way they used to do it. We were together. Listen, I wish I had a nickel for how many times the producer or the arranger or the artist didn't like what was happening, and guess who redid it? We did. Most of those charts were chord charts. When you hear fills that Hal's playing, nobody wrote those fills. Those were all improvised. He felt it from the music, and that induced him to do that great stuff that he did. Or when we did, what was the one? We were on an Elvis Presley call for a movie, and they needed another song. And they stopped. Billy Strange and Mac Davis were the writers. They stopped us, and they went out, and we took a 10-minute break, and they came back with a song, and they had no chart, no nothing on it. It was called A Little Less Conversation, and there we were. There was nothing, and then there was a hit record that we made the arrangement then, right there on the spot, nothing
Recently,
written.
after all these years that Elvis is gone, that was a #1 hit all over the world, over 100
All over again.
cities, yeah.
So how are you going to know that? But we're here to talk about it.
How you gonna keep them down?
Unfortunately, we were the ones that were asked to do that. So there you have it. And it happened time and time again, you know, with different artists and those reuse checks because of union contracts and all of that. It's nice to go to the post office box and there's a little present there. It's wonderful.
And it's all in this movie Tommy, beg your pardon, I love him.
Tommy Jr.
Tommy Jr., yeah.
That Denny directed it, and it tells the entire story. I mean, when people see this movie, they'll get the picture. No pun intended, but believe me, it's quite a film. Everyone should see this movie. It's